Welcome back to Bay Sunday. We're here with Fiona from the Board of Equalization. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Melissa.
Well, so first order of business, what is the Board of Equalization? It has a pretty cool history we were just chatting about, so to tell our viewers a little bit about the history and functions of the Board of Equalization.
Yeah, it's kind of an obscure agency, but it's been around since 1879, passed by voter initiative. Initially to equalize all of the 58 county assessors. Back then, not all of them were assessing, remitting, collecting equally in the state, and so the voters passed this Board of Equalization to make sure that there was uniformity between the assessors. Since then, we now collect about 30 different taxes and fees, and we also hear income tax appeals. So if you file your taxes with the Franchise Tax Board and you get audited and you don't agree, you could come before the Board of Equalization to get a ruling.
Wow, so you probably have lots of new friends now that you're on this appeals board and you can determine, you know, who's paying their taxes and how much.
You would think, but I don't think people like to talk about their taxes. It is the only elected tax board in the country. We do collect between 35 to 45% of the state's revenues, so it is really important, but not a lot of people know about it.
Well, and I think that, you know, that can lend itself to people taking advantage of. I mean, you've got the Board of Equalization. It's kind of obscure, kind of scary, and they know it's related to maybe taxes. Talk to us a little bit about what's happening now that it's tax time, if people are taking advantage of that.
Yeah, so if you're a retailer here in the state, you have to get a reseller's license from the Board of Equalization, and it allows you to sell to the public, and you collect sales taxes and remit it. So there have been a lot of scams, telephone scams, people calling taxpayers demanding money or threatening to arrest them, put them in jail, and so it has been creating a lot of chaos. This follows the IRS scams that have been happening since 2013. About $14 million have been scammed from taxpayers, from people pretending to be the IRS, and it's April 15th. I'm sure they're going to be on the phones again, but I just want to let folks know that the tax agencies never ask for payment over the phone. They will never ask for your credit card, never ask you to go down the street to pay someone, by cashier's check. We will send you a notice, and then you can follow the instructions on the notice.
But you don't call, right? So you get if anyone gets a call from the Board of Equalization, it is probably a scam. Is that true?
We may call. We may call just to let you know that you will be getting a notice, but we will never call to say, you owe us money, we need immediate payment, pay today.
Now, is there something people can do if they get one of these calls where they can report these scams?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can call my office, 415-557-3000, to report it to us, but call the police. Certainly they are also tracking these callers and trying to link back and trace back to who's calling. They're very sophisticated, because if you have caller ID, sometimes the numbers will link back to some tax agency, IRS, Franchise Tax Board, State Board of Equalization. So you think it's a real call, then the next time they call, you pick it up thinking it's a real call. But again, we never ask, none of the tax agencies ever ask for money to be paid through the phone, credit card, anything like that.
Excellent. Good to know. So you have certainly come to this Board of Equalization at a unique time in California's history when we are actually considering maybe legalizing marijuana. We anticipate on 2016's ballot, November ballot, to have maybe a legalization initiative on there. And you've been part of this effort to make marijuana legal, or at least decriminalize it here in California. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so 2016, there will be a ballot initiative sponsored by the Drug Policy Alliance. We are working with all the stakeholders right now to try to figure out what would be the economic impact if such an initiative passed. We want to make sure that we are collecting as much taxes as possible, not creating an underground economy, and of course trying to legalize, bring people, to the forefront, have them pay their fair share of taxes and kind of operate as a business if this initiative passes.
Now, so in Colorado, it hasn't been smooth sailing with their tax collection, right? You said that there have been some issues with people trying to get out of paying taxes by getting themselves certified as needing medical marijuana, things like that.
Yes, so there's a two-tier tax system in Colorado, and the legal marijuana tax folks pay a much, much higher tax than if you're a medical marijuana patient. So a lot of people are going to get their cards and getting their marijuana through the dispensaries.
Oh, I see. So you're working to make sure that doesn't happen here.
Yes, we're taking all the best practices, and hopefully we'll learn from other states and jurisdictions.
Well, who knew when you were getting your accounting degree that you would be researching legalizing marijuana here in California?
Anything that is a potential tax now is in our realm, and it's really exciting that I'm kind of going back to my roots. 20 years ago, I left the big public accounting firm. I'm a CPA, a tax accountant by training, and now I'm able to use all my tax training and education.
Well, excellent. We certainly thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We will be back with more Bay Sunday right after the break.